1, 2, 3, go.
That was pretty impressive, dog.
Yeah, dude. It's been a while since we podcasted.
I need that crotch.
Weird things. I could probably cut that out. Hey, everybody. I'm not used to filming with people in the room. Everybody, my name is Michael Knipp, and I'm here.
I forgot this wasn't pop.
Hey, everybody. I'm Michael Knipp, and I'm here with my brother.
What's up?
His name is Marcus. We used to do this a lot. Remember, I used to say, my name is Michael Knipp, and your name is... Marcus Knipp. We're going to be talking about Rhythm of War, which is the fourth book in the Stormlight Archive. We're going to be talking full spoilers for Rhythm of War, and I'll go ahead and say this ahead of time. We may do like little bit of warnings later on, but we are going to be talking about, we may talk about Warbreaker as well, but we're just going to have, it's going to be full-on spoiler discussion. We're just going to be chilling and hanging out, and I'll probably have to cut out so much. If you see right here, my brother drew this picture of Kaladin for me for my birthday.
I did do that.
And so,
for your 29th birthday.
My second 29th birthday.
All right, notes, dude. I made notes because I was like, if my brother ditched to be the freaking king of the nerds or whatever you are on YouTube now, I was like, I better come correct when I come on this jank.
Well,
and not look like an idiot.
All I did was I wrote some topics.
I wrote down jokes, and I was like, if there's a lull in the conversation, like, dude, I literally did this as if we weren't friends and we didn't get along. I was like, if we hard stop, I got some just dumb Stormlight themed jokes.
I wrote down 9 topics. That's it.
Okay, I mean, I just kind of did pros and negatives, but then I realized that this wasn't a review. Like, I wasn't like, we're not reviewing the book. So then I like tried to write out a bunch of notes, and then my wife said it was time to leave to come here, and I was like, well, we'll figure it out.
I guess let's just start off with like a general, like, what is your Rhythm of War impression? You read this book in like 2 days.
I did, yeah. Well, not counting the early chapters. That first 19. Okay. I listened to in 2 days, and then the rest of the book I finished in the next 2 days.
You listen to the audiobook at like 2.3 speed. 2.3 times
2.3 speed.
Which is inhuman.
It is inhuman, and there were a few times I had to rewind it because I would miss something, and then I was like, oh, here, let me slow it down to regular to understand it, and it felt slow motion.
Yeah.
So around like 1.7 is like the sweet spot for like me to understand it 100%. Everything's going good.
I think that it's a dyslexic superpower to be able to listen to audiobooks faster, because the dyslexic people I know generally listen faster than I do.
Well, I think it's because you learn to read fast. You can just go, oh, I'm going to read this faster because I want to know what's going on.
I can't listen fast though.
Well, yeah, but like the thing
Unless it's Busta Rhymes.
Well, hey, you stupid idiot. I can't read fast, so I made myself learn how to listen fast so I could. I kid you not, I knew you can read faster than I can listen. So I wanted to be roughly on pace.
We still finished in the same day, though.
Yes, I wanted to be roughly on pace to finish with you, because I want to be able to talk about this book. So I worked that when I forced myself to learn how to listen to Warbreaker faster.
Nice.
Because I finished Warbreaker the day before we started Rhythm of War.
Nice. You're hot on the Cosmere train as well.
Yeah, just coming right off of it. This is my favorite Stormlight book, I think.
Nice.
I think this is it, and that could be recency bias.
Yeah,
but
I call it number 2 or number 1, depending on the minute. I think it's definitely the better paced Stormlight book best paced one we've ever seen.
Yeah, this one feels there were no lulls, I don't think.
I know some people think that we're obviously talking spoilers here, so it's weird. I'm very uncomfortable just being free talking about this thing so far. So the parts where they're doing all the science and singing together, Raboniel and Navani, some people think is a little slow. I found that really interesting.
The only problems I have with this book was I don't think there was necessarily enough flashback with the singers.
Mm-hmm.
There was just enough for it to for me to not care. If there was a little bit less, I'd have been like, okay, whatever. It's a little bit of color to those characters.
Sure.
And if there was more of it, I think it could have been really interesting. But just the amount that we got, I was like, I cared so little for the flashbacks in this one.
Did the flashbacks change your opinion of Finley? I didn't really feel like they changed that much.
They felt so inconsequential.
Yeah, I brought this theory up in another venue, and I was kind of shut down. But what do you think about the idea that since this book is so heavily focused on Navani, we could have had some Navani flashbacks, and that could have been cool? Because I like that idea.
Yeah, no, does she get a flashback book?
No.
Weird.
No, she gets shafted hard.
I would have loved, she got the intro to this book.
Yeah. She got the Gavilar sucks way more than you thought.
You thought, which is... I think I listened to somebody say something about how we already knew he sucked. And
I said that.
Oh, I don't remember him sucking that bad.
No, he didn't like suck that bad. He was just kind of like, this guy probably sucks, but this was like, yeah, we'll lean into it.
Well, it's also just weird because you only ever really hear about him, rose-colored. Like you only ever hear Dalinar think his brother's the best.
Word.
Is Dalinar the older or younger brother?
Younger, I think. Dalinar even, Navani even indicates when she's first talking to Dalinar in A Way of Kings that like, yo, there was things about your brother you don't know. Like, their marriage was a little rocky, which you didn't realize what it meant, but...
Him being a jackwang?
Yeah.
Hey, you didn't know your brother sucks.
You didn't know he was a total turd bucket, but now you do. Speaking of total turd buckets, I made the joke when I was talking about Twilight that Stephenie Meyer wrote the third and fourth books as if she just really had a grudge against Team Jacob fans. I think that Brandon Sanderson was looking at all the people saying Moash did nothing wrong and Moash needs a redemption arc, and he leaned heavily into, no, screw you guys, this book.
Well, yeah, my favorite thing, and it was very funny the way that you put it, was you said it for anybody who thought Moash was going to get a redemption arc, the first thing you see Moash do is slit a dude's throat and say, hey, Calvin, you should probably kill yourself.
He encourages the main character to commit suicide when he knows that he's mentally unstable.
When he's mentally wow, he's such a rough boy.
Oh man, the Kaladin stuff in this book is heavy.
But good, like...
Really good.
So good.
But hard.
Yeah, dude, you get so, like, bummed for all the right reasons. Like, you're bummed, but not in, like, this book is bad or dumb or boring. You're bummed as, like, man, this sucks for Kaladin, and it's a rough, like...
Chapter 10, though, when he first gets benched, I think it's chapter 10.
Yeah, when he gets benched.
It's like, this is the most necessary thing, but I've never really seen a story do that. Yeah. But like, dude, when Kaladin locks up the way that he does, and you find out that it's kind of a semi-regular thing.
It's not uncommon.
Like, in real life, there's not coming back from that, really. No, like, you don't ever see time again. And obviously, because this is a fantasy story, we get to see a little bit of things. Like, Kaladin gets to fight again, and he will probably fight again in the next book, which is cool. But, like, in real life, when that happens to soldiers, they don't come back, really.
Well, yeah, and it's such a sad but necessary moment.
Yeah.
And I think we were even talking about this. You get to see how even though Dalinar and Adolin are having their differences, Kaladin needed both of them.
Yeah.
He needed the very cold shoulder, no questions asked, you're not a soldier anymore. But then, as he was considering what Moash told him to do, like wallowing in his room, he needed Adolin to be like, hey, no, we're friends. Like, you gotta come hang out.
Adolin in this book, I feel like, just gets win after win.
I turned into you this book. To where, like, I kid you not.
That could be so many things that are problematic.
Any bromance moment between Adolin and Kaladin, I would get misty-eyed.
Yeah, dude.
I would get like, dude, they're just good friends. You're just gonna...
Dude, when Syl gets Adolin to rescue Kaladin from the room, it's so good. And Adolin's like, yo, dude, you don't need to talk. You don't need to say anything. You just need to be around people.
Yeah, just come be out.
It's the realest thing. Like, it's so good. It's so awesome.
Good.
It makes Adolin look awesome. And, like, Adolin is... People talk about Adolin.
Adolin get the baddest rap?
Frick, dude. I love Adolin so much. He's so shallow in some ways, but he's also, like... He's a very good character because he feels real, because there's some things he's ignorant about. Like, sometimes he's kind of dense.
But also, he feels so trying. Like, it never feels like... Or, for the most part, he feels very... Even when he's being, like, dense about certain things, it's not coming from a place of, like, maliciousness or, like, intentionality of being, like, the worst.
Well, and, like, even the moments where we see, like, Adolin and his dad disagreeing, for instance, on how they should interact with soldiers of lower rank, where Adolin is more like, I'm gonna go drink with the men and hang with the men and understand my men, and Dalinar is more like, we have to be above them and respect them and be something to look up to. Like, those are both extremely valid leadership options, and they're disagreeing about something that's like, there are really awesome merits on both sides. And I feel like Adolin's conflict with his dad is mostly the fact that he sees from his dad's book how bad his dad was, and he has to reconcile all these feelings. Like, I'm looking for some really, really beautiful reckoning in book 5 between Adolin and his dad. Does that mean that they will be 100% aligned? No. That's not how real life works.
Yeah, no.
Like, we don't see...
We both hate Dad.
Like, Dad, he just looks at everything the complete... No, like, we both...
Dad's Team Moash, dude.
For the record, we have a good relationship.
You know, our dad's the best.
They don't have to see the exact same way about all the issues, they can both still work together. I mean, they're both different orders of Radiance. They're going to have different goals and whatnot.
Is he going to be a Radiant? Do we know?
No.
What do you think?
Okay. I am team, I don't give a crap if he becomes a Radiant. No, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I'm team, make him a flipping Radiant because everybody else is a Radiant. There's so many people that I'm friends with that I love dearly that are like, he's the only one that's not a Radiant. We can't let him be a Radiant. And I'm like, screw you. He's so good.
Well, my thing, it's just like, how is he going to be on the table as like a valuable character for doing stuff if he's not a Radiant, really?
I mean, the value that he has right now
in theory, he did this book. He was valuable this book without a sword.
He was able to negotiate
without a sword.
Without a bond. Sword. But he is able to like Maya scenes, dude. They're so good. Everything like Adolin, this book was just coming up Adolin, dude. He was like a better husband than you ever thought he would be. Oh.
He was in despite of Shallan being kind of a real the worst.
Dude, let's talk about that. Shallan is not in a great place.
Not in a good headspace.
She makes some progress again in this book, but she like doesn't give a crap about the fact that she's married. She doesn't open up at all to Adolin. Like, it's clear that she's very vague with him. She does all kinds of things without even discussing it with him, but he's like super into the idea of like, hey, let's do this together. Let's be a team and a partnership and let's work together. And this brings up one of my like maybe like slightly more controversial takes, which is I've really enjoyed Shallan a lot up to this point, but we've reached a point where I'm tired of seeing Shallan win, and the solution is always, you don't need help, just figure it out yourself. She always wins that way, with the exception of Wit helps her 2 different points in the story. Shallan has had
2?
He helps her when she's a kid, and he helps
her when she's the flashback, and then he helps her in Oathbringer.
So like, I love Shallan a lot. She's had an extremely awesome dark backstory, but in the current timeline she always succeeds, and she pretty much always does it without the help of anyone except for Wit. And
she always does it in a way that like miraculous. She's like always failing forward, it feels like. Like, it feels like she's always like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Let's get myself in over my... I figured it out.
There's some stories where that works, especially if it were to be more comedic. But look at let's compare Kaladin and Shallan's failures.
Well, yeah, they're opposites of each other. Kaladin can't get a win to save his life, dude.
And Shallan never loses. Like, she never loses. And I want to see a little bit of Shallan failing. And I want to see a little bit of Kaladin winning.
Hey, dude, Shallan's even strong enough to kill a friend, dog.
Like, if Shallan only won at the behest of some nasty failure, but like, what does Kaladin have to do with every book to have something awesome happen? Look at what happened in this book. He had to like get in a massive fight with his dad. He had to like lose Teft. He had all these awful things happen.
He had to have everything he thought he was taken away from him, reconcile with that, then while he's finally being okay not being a warrior, be forced in a position where he's literally the only person that can still fight for the good guys in the tower. So he does, despite his depression, like his depression high, despite being more depressed than he had been, be the only guy that can fight to where everybody's relying on him again for the whole book. Well, not knowing really how to reconcile with that and losing all of his friends. And then Teft dies. For him to go, I guess, for him to have a really beautiful moment that proves that younger brothers are better.
What point did you What point did you know that Teft was going to die?
I thought Teft was going to die, guaranteed that chapter.
I feel like, but if you're using your logic brain, which I was not doing because I was fully invested and immersed in the story, I feel like if you're using your logic brain, as soon as you realize Teft has basically completed his arc, you're like, oh, dude's dead.
Oh yeah, as soon as Lift wakes him up, like the next chapter is from his perspective, and he's pretty much like, I did it. Like he's with his friends. Like,
I beat drugs. I'm with my friends. It doesn't matter what happens. We can win. And I should have been like, "Oh, you're dead, dude."
Well, and even because he even talks about, he goes like he thought he woke up from being on the drugs again.
Yeah.
And he's like, "But I didn't." But he goes, "Even if I did, it wouldn't matter." He goes, "Because I beat it. I'll beat it again. I'm with my boys." Yeah. Like that. Those are 2 of my favorite chapters. Because the chapter right before that was David's.
Yeah, David's.
I love David's chapter.
Oh, dude, David in this book is so. I'm so glad. I was so invested in David in The Way of Kings, and nothing happens, and then nothing happens in Words of Radiance or Oathbringer.
Like,
I'm so glad we got some good David.
I almost thought it was weird, no joke, that David, like, that they kept referencing him. Yeah. I was like, are you gonna?
Is he gonna do something?
Like, is he gonna do anything ever? Because they referenced him like he's always there in all the other books.
He's like the potentially most clutch player in this book also. Like,
oh yeah.
He's definitely vital to them succeeding. If it, like, Kaladin obviously is clearly clutch. It's his job, but like
you see you get chills in that moment.
What?
In that end moment when Kaladin's talking mad smack?
I think it's because so go ahead and show your perspective and then I'll share mine.
Pretty much the whole book, I was assuming at some point we were going to get the quote-unquote Kaladin Stormblast.
Fourth ideal.
I was like, one more time. Well, I thought this book was actually going to break a little bit worse than it did. Yeah. And I was thinking he was going to get fourth ideal, and then they were going to get smashed. Like, I thought he was going to score the fourth ideal, and it wasn't going to matter. They were still going to get stopped.
He was going to get Ellicard.
Yeah, that was my theory. It was like, he gets fourth ideal, and maybe him and a few people survive. But, like, I was thinking we're going to lose a lot more people, which is maybe why, like, I heard people talk about they didn't feel like there were stakes in this book. And I was like, I think that was just an expectations thing, because I thought we were going to lose everybody. Or potentially everybody. Yeah.
I mean, frick.
We lose
so much stuff happens, but yeah, it's not as sad as it could.
Yeah, as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. For
sure. So, I was just waiting for it. I was like, I know we're gonna get at least one moment where we get to see Kaladin like be Kaladin, and then I didn't think that for so long, and I was just so happy for Kaladin to be like, I think I'm probably gonna die here, but if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die the people that they see me as, and you just see him like fight like he's the best fighter maybe on Roshar.
Dude, Sassy Kaladin. Sassy Kaladin, we need a little bit of every book, and we get a little bit of it every book.
Every book.
But man, I wish we got more Sassy Kaladin. Like, we get like 3 pages of Sassy Kaladin per 1,000 pages or something.
Oh, dude.
The ratio's a little off.
And just when he makes the dude run away from him.
So Mark and I talked about this before. It was like him trash talking the pursuer was your...
Yeah, dude. And I was like, I got chills. I was like, yeah, dude. And I was like, I didn't think that was going to be the end. Like, I was like, I don't think the rest of the book is just Kaladin just schooling fools. So I knew something was going to happen. But I was so happy to see him, because we didn't really get him the whole book. Because, like, he's really on his heels for most of the first fight. Like, he almost loses to the pursuer.
I mean, like every other... Yeah, he loses for like 1,000 pages, basically.
Well, yeah, it's every other... Yes, every Stormlight book, so Kaladin just gets beat down for almost the whole book, and then isn't... But then in this one, gets beat down a second time. He usually... Once he gets his win, he usually doesn't get beat down again.
It's kind of like his maybe worst book, in some ways.
This or Oathbringer, yeah.
Oh, dude. Why does he hate Kaladin so much, dude?
Can't get... That's why he's so compelling, though, dude.
How'd you feel about big boy Dalinar?
Because
he got way less feature.
Well, here's the thing about this book, was I thought it was so well paced, like, personally for me, that, like, in hindsight, I go, oh, that's a bummer you don't get more Dalinar. Mm-hmm. But, like, I didn't even really notice the first time reading it. Like,
it didn't bother me because there was so much Dalinar in the last book, and he still did things in this book. I mean, we still got to see interesting Dalinar revelations. Not revelations, but like he made moves. I mean, he did what he had to do.
He did make moves, but also I think the moves Dalinar were making in this book, which I think were like, it was necessary to like show that, but I think it is widely less interesting than the things that were going on in other places in the book. Like, if they would have given Dalinar something different to do, maybe I would have wanted to see more of him. But I was okay with not seeing him a ton, because I was like, that's not as interesting as Kaladin being John McClane or whatever.
I also hold the position that Dalinar, I love his redemption arc so much. To me, he's redeemed. He's this awesome character. I also love that Mink doesn't take his crap. He doesn't believe him at all until, like, he starts to sometimes maybe believe him. And other characters are constantly struggling with, like, dude, you were a bad dude.
And also, what an interesting move for him to be like, hey, I published a book that says I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a book I wrote about me called... And also...
they didn't have YouTube apology
What
videos.
A freaking narc, dude. Dalinar just goes, oh, hey, I'm screwed dyslexic representation. I'm going to learn to read, idiot. You can't do that.
I love Dalinar so much. I don't think he's perfect, and I also, like, I don't think any of these characters are perfect, and that's why I love them, because he's still flawed even in this book. Like, he calls Yasna out on something that he totally would have done, like, even the previous year, potentially, like, with the whole Duel of Blades thing, which to me was brutal as crap. It was like, oh, dang, dude.
Yeah, you don't need to...
Yasna's... I love Yasna, but that girl's a little sketch sometimes.
I don't dislike...
Remember the Way of Kings?
When she just torches those
people?
Yeah,
she just, like, nukes those people in the hallway, or alley.
She goes, Fire Lord Ozai on those fools. Dude, yeah, nobody in these books is... She's probably... Her and Shallan are probably my least favorite, though. They get the most frustrating to me, you know?
Yasna doesn't get enough time to be too frustrating for me.
Yeah.
I think she was cool in this book.
Shallan, I guess, is more just kind of like... Yeah, you're just more like... I think intentionally so, but you're stressed the whole time you're, like, with Shallan. In every book.
I find Shallan extremely stressful to read.
Hey, here's a question for you, and maybe this is... I cared the least about Shallan, and maybe that's why I didn't think that it affected the book that much. Was Formless supposed to be the real Shallan?
I think Formless...
Hey, maybe the Shallan arc wasn't good if we don't know what it is.
I know some people criticize the Shallan arc, and I think that for sure it was the most rushed thing. Like, I feel like some of the delivery... Like, the fact that she killed her first Spren is something that you can figure out along the way, and I feel dumb for not picking up on it sooner.
Is that Spren... Was it supposed to be the Spren that Adolin sees, and they bring out in the trial? Was that supposed to be her Spren? Because I think the timelines would roughly line up.
The one that was dead before the Radiant started
Yes.
coming back. Yeah, Shallan had the first Radiant Spren, and she killed it.
And that's the one that they hold against him because he goes, we're not going to kill our Spren in the trial.
And they're like, yeah, you already killed one. Yeah, that was
Shallan's Spren.
Shallan's first Spren that she killed. I think that's a really awesome revelation.
That's why she was following them at that city, because she was looking for Shallan, probably.
Maybe, but maybe.
I don't know if that works like that at
like
all.
the whole thing that I thought was like I never thought about, but while I was getting to this book I thought it was really cool, which is like pattern is like I don't remember back then. And you're like, why would you not remember back then? Like, you were already a sword.
Also, yeah, doesn't Pattern say that, like, he wouldn't be surprised if she kills him? Also? Like, doesn't he reference it? He's like, no, you're probably gonna kill me.
Yeah, he says that, and he also says, like, I don't remember back then. And you're like, why the frick wouldn't you remember back then, dude? And you're like, oh, because it was another Spren, and she killed him. Dang. Like, that's an awesome revelation. I don't feel like the execution was handled as well. It didn't bother me in the moment, but, like, looking back, I'm like, man, that's a really, really powerful moment, and it wasn't...
Well, that moment worked fine for me, but I don't know what was the deal with...
The whole thing with Formless is a little
like, I'm confused on that.
I think it's...
Like, is it actually a fourth personality?
I think it was just kind of the fact that she hid the fact that she had more secrets.
Okay.
And then she ate Vale? Is Vale the one she sucks up?
I think so.
At the end. So she made some forward progress. But
so
I think...
is she going to stop flirting with Kaladin?
She wasn't... Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, I get so confused with some of that stuff.
I don't know, dude.
What other moments? Like, there were cool moments. Like, I was doing more, like, just listening to the book. I forgot how, like, kind of touching it was when Rock left. Like, they had, like, that fun, like, that sweet moment.
He's obviously not dead.
He's not dead.
We're getting to the point. I don't trust people are dead unless I literally see them lying dead. And sometimes I'm starting to question even that.
I don't think he's dead. Well... Scar and Dre. When Scar and Dre, he said, well, I guess they probably didn't stay for whatever trial he had to wait for.
They might have stayed for the trial. I don't know. We don't see that news. My guess is that he's gonna be some kind of world hopper for some reason. Like, I don't know if he's gonna escape via the perpendicularity that's in that area or what. My guess is he's gonna be a world hopper of some sorts. I'm gonna guess he's gonna have some kind of different name, and we're gonna open up some Cosmere book, and it's gonna have Rock's diction, and we're like, oh, it's Rock. That's my guess. I don't know. He could come back.
Hey, real quick. Remember how we were very convinced that Dalinar was going to die this book or next book? I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
So yeah, I was going to save that for the predictions, but let's talk about it now. Dalinar, I was 100% convinced he was going to die.
This book. Or next book.
Definitely by next book. And now at this point, I think the option that he's presented us with at the duel means that Dalinar is definitely going to lose the duel because he definitely has to beat Odium, or as my friend Peter in the Discord calls him, Todium. he's definitely gonna be Todium's pet.
It's too rich of an idea for that not to be what happened.
Yeah, like, as an author, I don't, like, it's like almost like, it's not Chekhov's gun, but it's like, what if I present you with the opportunity for the story to get way cooler, and then it's just normal.
And then the good guys do it. Well, also, if the good guys win...
I mean, maybe the good guys win and Todium tricks them some other way, or, like, there's so many ways it can go down, but either way...
What's Era 2 if the good guys win at the end of this one?
Dalinar is gonna be Todium's pet. There's no world in which that doesn't happen, right? Because that's way cooler than anything else that would have happened.
But, like, and here's why it's such a... What does that mean, necessarily?
I don't know, dude!
And also...
It means Dalinar's gonna go around the Cosmere and...
Wait, and doesn't Odium act like... Doesn't Todium act like there's a bigger thing and we need to get the boys together?
Yes, okay.
But what does that mean?
I don't know what anything that Todium says means. I don't know what Cultivations says at the end of that book. It just makes her way sketchier, because I thought she was, like, good... And now she's, like, sketch. And now Todium is sketch.
Well, why would she be good when the Night Watcher is hers? And doesn't everybody say the Night Watcher is bad?
Well, everybody says the Night Watcher is bad, but I just sort of attributed that to it, like, Vorinism was based on honor, and cultivation is a different god, so they just sort of demonized that.
Oh. Wait, are you trying to say that freaking Vorinism did something wrong?
Yeah, I'm trying to say Vorinism may have messed up some stuff. Let's talk about the duel. We think Dalinar's going to lose the duel because he has to become Todium's pet. What is the duel?
What is it?
Before we get to the duel, I guess, does Dalinar being Todium's pet mean that he's going to go full Blackthorn, and we're going to see Blackthorn in other Cosmere worlds, like, become a mini-boss or something? Because that sounds dope.
We get to see, like,
Is he going to be basically Szeth? Like, where he's like, I have to kill things against my will, and I'm really good at doing it.
And I'm very good. Yeah, like, we see something like that, or we get, like, I was thinking something like, we get, like, a Rogue One scene of Darth Vader walking down the hallway just owning fools. Like, yeah, Dalinar being, like, a big thing that everybody's scared of in other worlds makes a ton of sense, dude.
I mean, you should be scared of Dalinar. He obviously, I think he's a good person, but if he becomes Todium's pet, he's gonna have to, like...
He might not have the option.
Be bound. I don't know, dude. All right, let's talk about the duel now.
What do you think it is?
So if it's going to be straight fighting, I always want... We talk about this. Let's talk about the greatest fighters on Roshar. Because everything that we thought about the greatest fighters on Roshar gets blown out of the flippin' water in this book.
Yeah, because we commonly... I think we settled on Kaladin, right?
It used to be Kaladin, Dalinar,
Adolin, Szeth. Those were the 4 greatest fighters in Roshar. Yeah.
Szeth probably loses because Kaladin has beaten him pretty squarely.
But, like, if you took magic away from all of them...
It's Adolin.
It's Adolin. Like, if it's just straight up dueling,
it's
Adolin
definitely
wins.
Adolin. Dalinar wins in a big battle, I think. Kaladin,
like, who can probably just slaughter the most amount of people? It's probably Dalinar.
Murk the most fools, it's Dalinar. I also think that when it comes to strategizing, Adolin and Dalinar have it. Kaladin, I think he has strategy, but also I think that he is more of a middle rank.
Well, I think also, like, I think Kaladin shines the brightest as far as I think he would be the best at. We need to, like, who's going to care about the littlest people on the field and keep them alive and fight to, like, quite literally protect, like, all the ground soldiers?
Yeah.
Kaladin's going to be the best at, like, I don't know how to win this fight, but I'm going to keep all these boys alive, like the best, like that kind of thing he's very good at.
Dalinar has shown in times past, he's like, yo, I'll sack myself to win this battle, but not die. Like, I'll just go for it and win. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Adolin, but like, Szeth is obviously very good, but I think that Kaladin fairly handily beats him in Words of Radiance, and also, like, kind of beats him even before he's fully manifesting his powers in Words of Radiance.
Yeah.
So I think Szeth is not going to win that battle. But then we read this book, and both Nail and who's the other guy? Kelek? No, Kelek's the one in Shadesmar, right?
Yeah.
The herald that was running the sprint tests, dude. They just handily beat anyone that's thrown at them. Like, it's like they don't even try.
Yeah.
Like, Nail disarms, like, Szeth without thinking about it.
Yeah, and Szeth's just like, what's... like, the whole game plan of me being here is to keep Dalinar alive.
Szeth pulls a swiper to a swiper. He's like, oh, man. Like, oh, man, dude, you got owned.
Which,
and
like...
then one of my favorite fighting moments in this book was the Spren dude who does the disappearing shard blade mid swing.
Oh yeah,
to summon my shard blade on the other side of your block, which is like one of the coolest things to imagine in my world.
It's just a dope thing because it obviously that could happen.
Yeah,
right?
and
like if you think about it, but
it's the first time we kind of get to see something awesome that like lightsabers don't do, because lightsabers kind of take a second to spring out.
Yeah,
it's like, what if I swung a lightsaber, turned it off, and turned it back on, but like it's not instantaneous enough.
Yeah, but like I would have never thought to like of that happening.
Oh no!
But then when it does, you go, oh yeah, that makes sense.
And these dudes are fighting for like 7,000 years. They have so much more experience. So it's like, dude, could one of those whacked out herald, like the whacked out herald with the bondsmith one, could that be Odium's champion? Because he is clearly misdirected.
Not if Kaladin gets to him. Kaladin's supposed to go try to help him, dude.
Dude, he also he's like, yo, let me show you how bondsmith powers truly work. And then he almost rips Dalinar's bond from the Stormfather away. You're like, oh, dude, the power levels. He's over 9,000 so hard.
It was, it broke how we saw everything else.
Yeah, dude, like that moment, and then I'll go ahead and skip ahead. The final moment when Wit, our hero, the guy who knows everything, kind of gets owned.
And knows, and like, yeah, he knows Odium by, like, Rays? Is that what they call him?
Well,
like he calls him by like a different, like he knows him. Like they've had dealings in the past.
I'm pretty sure that was pre-Todium.
Well, yes. It was Rays.
Yeah.
Like he knew that dude. Like, no, we know each other. You don't like me.
That's not surprising to me. Like, it seems like he definitely is familiar with the shards.
Well, it's surprising. Like, it's only surprising to me. Like, he knows everybody, and everybody like kind of like everybody who's anybody knows him.
Yes.
But then somebody just takes that memory.
He handily kind of gets owned in a way that is, that moment is maybe more terrifying than another moment for the Cosmere than that moment to me.
Because what?
Wit's supposed to be our guy who always knows.
Always wins. Yeah. Which is almost like frustrating that he's not sharing more the whole time.
The thing is, I think he does share more with Yasna. We just, like, there's a moment where he's like, yo, let me tell you the secret, Yasna, and then a scene cuts. I'm like, dude, what the heck?
Well, yeah.
Why does Yasna get to know everything? Yasna probably already knew more of it anyway than she let on.
Than we know. Yasna already knew more than we did.
That's why we have beef with Yasna. She gets to know more about the Cosmere than we do.
Dude, that scene... was he talking to Todium or regular Odium?
I think he was talking to Todium and may not have known it.
So he thought it was Rays, or whatever.
I think, dude, I don't know. There's so much that happens at the end of this book that it's scary to me. The fact that you can pull Spren into the real world and they die, it's a sick thing to do.
Oh, dude, that was so sad.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about, like, that moment? Did that make you teary at all? When Teft died?
When Teft died, I got feels. I didn't cry, but I feels.
I
got my chills when Teft had his final last words.
Yeah, my favorite thing is when somebody resigns themselves to losing, but like they still kind of win. They're like, I'm dying. Like in Ready Player One, there's this scene. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Have you read the book?
No.
Freaking what booktuber?
I'm a bad booktuber. I know.
Have you?
Ready Player 2 just came out. Even
really?
Yeah.
As a book? Who writes them?
Ernest
T. Hemingway.
Klein.
Is Ernest T. Hemingway a real author?
Ernest Hemingway is an author. I don't know his middle name. I'm not that close.
Probably Travis.
We're not that close.
There's a cool scene where a guy sacks himself pretty much, and he's about to die. But like the big saying is, the first to the egg is like that's what you're chasing for, and he just like first to the egg, and then he gets sacked. But it's like I sacrifice myself for what I believe in, and it was just like when it says Teft died brave and still full of happiness or something, or still full of love.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful moment.
I love Teft so much. I've loved Teft since book one. He went out very good.
He went out so good.
He also established Moash again as a giant beehole.
Dude.
Which is what we needed. We needed a bad guy that we could just hate again. Because like Todium, I don't know what to do. I'm just afraid of him.
Yeah,
I'm scared of him. He's way crafty. Like Odium pre-Todium was like kind of just bad.
Yeah,
and I've been in debates where I've been in debates with people who are like, no, he's more complicated than that. But like, I don't think the tech supports that. I know Odium himself said that, but he's kind of full of crap. Todium though, is not just like full evil. He's just scary as crap because he's like He's like Thanos if Thanos had nuance. Which is not to like super dunk in those movies because I do love them, but like Thanos, it's like, how do I say this? Thanos is the idea of a potentially gray villain, but killing half of the universe is not like actually that sympathetic. The idea of trying to save the other half is, but like Thanos is the most brute force hammer in the world.
Well, Thanos, and also, let's just be honest real quick, Thanos got a lot of praise because he was the first Marvel Cinematic Universe villain that was sympathetic at all in any way, shape, or form.
Sure.
To where people are like, whoa, like this villain has so much like, I'm like, not compared to other things.
He doesn't have that much depth. He's just like...
But in comparison to who else? To Christopher Eccleston?
Nobody in Marvel. I mean, well, nobody in Marvel Cinematic Universe because Magneto's not there yet.
Magneto's not there yet.
The greatest Marvel villain.
And then, like, I guess, in theory, you can do, like, Daredevil's Kingpin, but whatever. We're not going to talk about that stuff.
Kingpin sucks.
Well, like...
He has a tragic backstory. That
doesn't
make him sympathetic.
He's a more complex, cool villain than anybody else.
Oh, he still sucks so much, bud.
He does suck.
Like, Todium, though, is, like, the only way to save the world is to sacrifice 2/3 of it. And you're like... Dude, which I guess that makes him sound like Odium, but or like a Thanos, but you know what I'm talking about.
Well, he's
way more nuanced.
Well, also he's way more nuanced, and he's also looking at it from much more of the perspective of I'm trying to save 1/3, and a lot less from the perspective of I'm gonna murk the other 2/3.
Yeah, dude.
And those are different mindsets.
He's just so bad. He's done so many bad things already.
He's a bad boy.
But you feel bad for him when he's on his stupid days.
On his stupid and when he like you do, I genuinely missed a lot of Dalinar and him confiding in each other talking.
Yeah.
Like those were some of the best parts of Oathbringer. Like, and isn't he the one who like talks to him about the Way of Kings a lot in Oathbringer? Like, don't they bring it up a lot?
I don't remember. I was mostly just really frustrated. Like, it was one of those moments where like we know way more than the characters do. So like, anytime Dalinar would talk to Odium, or anytime Dalinar would talk to Taravangian, I'd just be like, Dalinar, he's evil!
You see, that's where you remember people's names. I didn't realize he was the dude that hired Szeth till straight up like almost at the end of Oathbringer.
Oh yeah.
Till they got the I was putting it together right around the time that like the assault happened on Yurthir, and I go, oh yeah, I thought he was a bad guy. He's been a bad. Oh right.
Did you remember the part where he also like just was killing people so he could hear their death throes?
Oh yeah,
because that's real nasty.
He's a bad dude.
All right, I'm gonna bring up some awesome crap for you.
Okay.
That you may not be aware of, that I've been only made aware of by people like Pete from my Discord. Pete has a channel. I will link it down below. Are you aware that significant things in the series were already told to us in the death throes from the Way of Kings? In fact, I've been told that if you look through all of those last final quotes of people dying in the epigraphs of the Way of Kings, all of Kaladin's sworn ideal moments are represented in those. I've also heard rumors that Big Brando himself has indicated that the end of the series has been hinted in those as well.
What?
Like, they're basically prophecies for the whole series.
Dude, I never pay attention to any of those.
That's the kind of bullcrap Brando does.
Hey, dude, how is everything in your life? Like, every time I hear you talk about stuff, I go, well, I think Michael's maybe reached the biggest echelon of nerd. That's what I think. And then you'll be like, hey, I found this dude.
Hey, I just have nerdy friends. I don't know any of this crap.
I found this dude, and he writes these books. And you go, here's the deal. He's doing these 10 books, and even though he writes at such a big pace, the way he's pacing them out, there's a good chance the dude's 109 by the time the last one comes out.
Hey,
he's Babe Ruth style calling a shot he's gonna finish in 56 years.
Hey, dude.
What the crap?
Hey, dude, do you remember when we played Kingdom Hearts and we thought it was awesome? What about if we were adults and we found something that was awesome as we thought Kingdom Hearts was?
And there's also Keyblades in both of them.
There's Keyblades in both of them. Crap, there's one more thing I was going to bring up from the Discord. Oh, so I've gone over most of these. Not quite.
Oh, okay, yeah, we also didn't talk about just the cool, fun moment of Zyle. What's his name?
Big Z?
Big Z?
Vasher.
Vasher. Yeah, Vasher fighting Kaladin.
Vasher
was a
fighting
dope
Kaladin
fight.
Was a very satisfying moment for me. this book, and I can't go into a lot of details, this book was just nonstop Cosmere connections, like, throughout.
You, like, my thing is I was so happy that you made me, at least, you said, yeah, you should probably read Warbreaker.
Yeah.
Because, do you know how weird that scene would be? Like, how weird that scene reads if you don't know about that magic?
It could potentially be more awesome if you didn't know what was going on. You're just like, what the frick?
Well, like, it would be, but then you're also like, what the... How? Like,
yeah,
it feels almost like Kaladin kind of gets his butt handed to him, but like unfairly, like unjustified. You're like, just this random monk that taught Adolin how to fight.
Yeah,
because he's the guy who yells at Adolin in the arena, and he goes, "Hey, they're scared of you, Adolin. Show them why."
Yeah, which is good.
It's one of my favorite scenes.
He also like tells Renarin to jump off the building.
He keeps making it repeatedly. Yeah, like, but he just gets his butt handed to him, and you're like, what? Well, even the scenes in Oathbringer where he kind of like, Kaladin has a little bit of a comeuppance to him, feel more earned when you see how cool Vasher is in Warbreaker.
Yeah. And there's so many other Cosmere connections. There's some Cosmere connections that we talked about in Dawn Shard, but you haven't read Dawn Shard.
Audiobook, dude.
The thing I will mention is the Ghost Bloods. When we find out the Ghost Bloods did not start in Roshar. They are world-hopping people, and they seem to be in the business of transferring magic between worlds, which is generally thought impossible, but they are evidently doing it, and that's really crazy.
And we know it's not impossible, because Hoid. Do people call him Hoid or Whit?
In which world?
Well, everybody calls him Whit here.
Yeah. He's called Hoid.
But I'm saying, do fans talk to, like, when fans talk about him, do they say Hoid?
Yeah. Because he's Hoid in other books. And also, he says a bunch of other names that he goes by, too, in Way of Kings. He's like, you may know me as this. He mentions Hoid in that point. And that's, like, the reveal where you find out he is Hoid. But... Yeah,
and you're mad confused about it if you're reading Way of Kings as the first Cosmere book you read.
I mean, it's not that confusing. You're just like, oh, this guy has a billion names. Why is that important?
Well,
and everyone's like, oh!
Yeah, what was I talking? No, I'm saying when you don't know that the Cosmere is connected... And he plays his song for Kaladin, it is weirdly because you go, I feel like this was supposed to be a pretty big deal, and it kind of is, but I feel like it was supposed to be a bigger deal than I know that it is.
Now that I've read so much of the Cosmere, if I don't directly know something, there's a lot of times where I'm like, that seemed like it should have had significance, but I don't understand it. It's got to be a Cosmere connection.
I need to read other books.
Yeah, you're like, read that scene in Oathbringer where that dude like gives him a map or something in Shadesmar, and you're like, that dude's got to be a Cosmere dude. Like, we spent way too much time with that dude.
Dude,
Azure.
Yeah, I thought there was another person that. No, because I don't remember.
There's other fun crap, too. There's so many Cosmere connections. I feel like we're reaching the point where, like, you should just read
Which is the next one I should read?
Mistborn.
Okay.
I mean, you could just go in order, which is Elantris first, but Mistborn is you're gonna see the most Cosmere connections with Mistborn.
Isn't that the big one? That's the one people love, right?
Yeah. It's probably more popular than this one, maybe.
I feel like you're asking a lot for people to like these books.
I feel like...
These books specifically, Stormlight, you're asking a lot of people, I think. Like, a lot of people.
I think that when you sign up for Stormlight, you've signed up for a certain amount of bull.
Yeah, you're going, I'm resigning myself to...
I specifically chose Stormlight over Mistborn first, because I was like, yo, it's the really, really, like, maybe overindulgent, super massive, epic one where it's, like, so much world building that it comes out your ears. And I was like, that's just what I want, thank you. And I picked that one first. And I think Mistborn is not as good, but also, like, the Mistborn is very much... my friend Rich from the Discord talks about how Mistborn is the one that's really focused on Cosmere connections, which, if you read Rhythm of War, that's crazy. But Mistborn has a lot of Cosmere things in it. It's also just a really good story, some really great characters, like Sanderson typically does. One more major topic that we should discuss here is we learn about first of all, I want to see the movie where we get to see Raboniel and Navani sing. Which, side tangent, we didn't talk about how awesome Navani is.
Oh, she's super cool.
Every other video where I've talked about Rhythm of War with other people, I've talked about how awesome Navani is.
Yeah, Navani owns this whole
I'm
book.
not trying to not give her the credit that she's due, because I think Navani is amazing and I loved her so much in this book. She also gets one of the greatest lines in this book when she freaking zaps the eyes out of Moash, basically.
Dude, Moash, get bent, dude.
Yeah, dude. He sucks so bad. He's like excited to murder all of these good people, and then he doesn't really regret it that much.
He wants to kill all of our friends, literally.
So, like, I'm sorry we didn't spend more time talking about Navani, but this is a very long video and I'm going to cut it already. We learn about Anti-Void Light, which has the ability to kill Spren permanently, which is something we've never seen before. What are the implications of that? And the question that keeps going around all the discords is, yo, does that blow up shard blades if someone sets off an Anti-Void Light bomb? Does that blow up shard plate? Like, that's serious business if we're talking about, like, yo, you can now just, like, blow up a bunch of radiants and their Spren die? That's not great.
That's wild.
That seems like it's OP.
Well, the bad guys don't really know about it, because the one bad guy that did know about it died.
Is that true, though? Like, did some of them escape with that knowledge? And the answer's probably.
I mean, it's more interesting if they did, but I hope they didn't.
Did any of them escape with the book Rhythm of War? Because that's what they...
I thought you picked up the only copy, or did they have two?
I thought there were two.
There might have been two.
In which case, if someone has Rhythm of War, they'll be able to recreate it. In which case, does every single battle become more serious now?
If they're dope at singing, they get to recreate it.
If they're good at singing. Yeah, which the listeners all seem to be. Their race as a whole just seems good at singing.
I told you I wrote jokes. I said the singers would be really good at the CBS NBC show, The Sing Off. It's all a cappella.
Why would you pick The Sing Off instead of like American Idol or The Voice or something?
Because it's all a cappella, dude, and there's a bunch of them.
But they can hear the music. Everyone hears the music except the flippin' humans.
So hold on. So by everyone, you mean this one other race of people that can hear the music?
No, I think it's implied that everything that's natural to Roshar feels the rhythm of Roshar. The human. Well, I mean, the only sentient, sapient ones that we have are the listeners, but I think that it's kind of implied that, like, everything in that world feels them.
So you think axe hounds hear it?
Yeah, dude. I totally think they do. That's I'll die on that hill right now.
You think axe hounds are singing to, like, Who Let the Dogs Out? Stupid. Gosh dang it. Okay, go ahead.
What do you think? What do you think about the theory, dude? That changes the stakes of every battle.
Every battle becomes high stakes and wild.
If Sill's gonna die, every potential fight she gets in, that's freaking not good.
Do you know how stressful this next book's gonna be if that's true?
Sill's gonna die?
No.
Do you think we'll ever see Kaladin in a relationship? On page.
I hope not, because I like the idea of like of it being trolly. Yeah, I like the idea of like Kaladin. I love the idea of Kaladin potentially like getting married and having a fulfilling like wife, but we never meet her in books.
Okay, so my friend Christy, host of #StormAlong2020, she
how funny would that be?
Hates the fact that Kaladin has been in 3 relationships basically, and they're all off page.
Well, also, I mean, pretty picky, dude. He wants to like the girl's personality and stuff, and not just date them because they're tall and good looking, and not dating Scar.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man.
Because I re-listened to the scene where they're in the bar, and one of them's like, "I wanted you to set you up this person," but then Scar started dating him, or it was Drakey, one of them. I don't remember which. It's like, yeah, started dating him. So like, you can't do that. He goes, "I'm not looking." Yeah, dude. I loved Adolin's fight. I loved Adolin's.
Adolin freaking just like go in hardcore. I don't know if you are you familiar with Shad from Shadiversity?
No.
He consulted for the battle scenes in this book. He has a YouTube channel that's basically, I'll link it down below, but like he like talks about medieval fighting and medieval weaponry, and like it's his whole jam, and his channel's awesome. And so he consulted in that fight. It's kind of apparent that like they're using the correct term for like his side sword and everything. And also he just kind of goes hardcore on all of those. What are they? Spren? No, they're people.
No, they're
right?
people
they're
hunting
the
honor Spren. It was also kind of a baller moment when that dude vouches for Adolin. That was a tight moment in the.
Yeah, it didn't actually amount to anything.
It amounted. Because they ended the trial that day. Because they brought him in to dunk on Adolin, and he goes, "No, Adolin's a pretty good dude. I'm out."
Yeah, we didn't talk about the fact that we talked briefly, like Maya. Heck yeah.
What is dead spread mean then?
We don't know. We don't know what it means to bring them back, but that clearly seems possible. Adolin's doing his best, but like we find out one of the most mind-blowing things about Roshar, which is that
the Spren, it was their choice.
The Spren specifically chose to break the bonds as well. Because and it's like, what?
Why again? They thought humans were getting too powerful? I thought they said?
We don't know. I think it's like there's hints, there's theories, but I don't think we know the answer to that fully. And I think that's scary. I also think it means that I initially was like, oh, so the Spren will just bond with people again. But like, or maybe not, because if they chose to break the bonds, there was something wrong before. There's
probably a good reason.
So maybe they won't bond with them anymore. And now I don't know. And I don't know where that means with the Cosmere going forward.
But I want more boys flying around, Michael. Hear me out.
I want to see...
We gotta win some honor sprint over, because I want to see some flying around boys.
I don't know what that means, and for the rest of the Cosmere, I don't... If this book is going to end on a satisfying arc, like, here's the thing. Is this book going to end on a satisfying arc where we are done, or is it going to feel like the second Star Wars, the fifth Star Wars movie, the second one?
I think. Are you saying is 5 ending? Stormlight 5
is 5 ending an arc, or so for instance, and there's a 300-year gap here, so this is slightly different. Mistborn Era 1 ends,
and it tells that story.
And there's a lot of, if I understand, because I haven't read Mistborn Era 2, but there's a fair amount of significant connective tissue between the two, which I can't talk about due to spoilers, but...
Same world, okay.
Same world, a lot of important things, but also it's a different story now. Is that going to happen with these books? I don't know. It's only 15 years later, which is why I think it's going to be hard.
In so many ways I don't want it to.
The only weird thing
Does that make sense?
Brandon, when I've seen him talk about Era 2 of Stormlight, if that's what we're going to call it, it almost seems like it's really going to be focusing on different characters as a whole.
Which I think has to mean our characters get boned in 5.
Or the arc ends. So I think Dalinar becomes Todium's pet.
Of course. Yeah.
I don't know what happens with the rest. I don't think it's just going to be happily ever after, because we're going to have a second arc. But is it going to end in some other conclusive way? Odium said he was going to leave for a significant period of time. Like, there's so many questions. And how is it going to end? And I don't know. And also, for those people that have read Dawn Shard, there's so many questions.
Well, so, in my head, just the way that you think about the way most stories are structured, but the way just most stories are structured is just that. But I guess that's assuming this is the midway point. Because if this is the midway point, this is when it gets hardest. Yeah. And when they lose. But if it's not, it almost has to be, because the good guys have won pretty much every book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it makes the most narrative sense if the good guys get slapped.
Yeah,
And that's if you think the humans are the good guys, I guess.
I tend to think that book 5 is going to be real nasty.
And then 6 is gonna be
Baby Gavinor and Balder.
Lift.
What's frickin'... Yo, we didn't get enough Lift in this book. Yeah. I changed my mind on Lift. I like her now.
Yeah.
We didn't get enough Lift.
What's
Kaladin's baby flippin' brother's name?
I don't know.
TN 2.0. I always call him that, and that's not very nice to him.
You call him TN?
TN 2.
T2?
T2, the mighty...
He's back. Hey, R'laine was cool in this book, too. We didn't talk about him. R'laine rules in this book.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. You brought it up. Is TN dead? Or did he go to heaven and we met real TN in heaven?
I like to say that we met Heaven TN. Because there's also the possibility that it was all a projection of some sort by Dalinar.
Yeah, I think I like Heaven.
I want Heaven TN.
I like Heaven TN because that means even if our boys get slapped in this next book, they go to heaven to be with TN and hang out.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel better.
Also, I cried.
Dude.
I cried. I had 2 cries. One was that. My second cry was when Big Daddy Liren was being a little bit hardcore, maybe a little too hardcore with his stance on pacifism, and all the peeps were wearing the freaking brands on their head, and he's like, what's on these people's heads? And his mom's like, yo, this is your son, Freak could be proud of him. And I was like, oh frick, and I cried. because it was too good.
Dude, you're such a freaking dad.
Dude, no, it's it's like the level of bromance. The level of bromance that happens in a story is almost equally proportional to my crying level.
Yeah, I love how also just I got misty when Tef stayed behind. I don't know if I said that earlier. When Tef stayed behind,
that was good,
and resigned essentially, got himself declared able to fight.
Yeah.
So he could be there, and then Kaladin freaks out on him and then says thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, this book's full of great moments.
Anyway, we're gonna have to cut it short. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, obviously leave a like. If you'd like to see more videos from me, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, you'll get notified when we post new videos. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but I didn't want to just sit here and rant about the book. So I'm glad for Mark for showing up in this video. If you'd like to see more discussion videos like this in the future, just let us know, because this is super fun. And I get an excuse to hang out with my brother, which is it's not the worst thing I could possibly do.
It's not the worst thing we could do.
So this has been fun. Thank you for watching. If you want to discuss things further, I've mentioned there's a Discord in this video multiple times. Discord is linked down below. If you'd like to help the channel financially, there's a link to a Patreon and also a merch link down below as well. All right, to end this, come up with a good dumb joke.
Hey, Michael, what do you call a Roman with a cold? All right, hey, hold on. I'll make it relevant. Let me try again.
Okay.
What do you call a Roman with COVID?
What?
Julius Sneezer.
You know, I have a reputation on my Discord for being like super anti-pun. So I think
And do you think that they think nobody made you that way?
I think that we now have actually had to ban him from the channel, so much for more discussions.
Do you like that I want to dedicate so much of my life to telling jokes, and that's what I'm reduced to doing when we do stuff together, is saying the thing I just said?
Thank you for watching this video. Until next time. Make love, not war.
No one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep. No one ever get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired. Sleep. No one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep. No one ever get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired.